So I know that we've been talking about this basically all week long. We talked about this briefly in a couple of segments ago, and we talked about this at length in the last segment. But we have to keep giving updates on this. So the last time that we talked about this, we talked about the news that broke, where you had the president of the University of Pennsylvania, which was stepping down because of anti-Semitism on college campuses. Harvard is not going to cave. They're not going to get rid of their president. And, of course, we're going to have to see how this all plays out. The people behind this coup attempt, as you know, are very powerful. They have endless amounts of money, and they're probably not going to stop until they get some form of exactly what they want. And so we're going to keep covering this. We're going to keep seeing how this plays out. But it seems to be the case, and we sort of hinted at this in the previous segment. We sort of insinuated this before. But it seems to be the case. The plan is to use anti-Semitism on college campuses as a pretext, as an excuse, to get rid of all of the non-Jewish university leaders and replace them with Jewish ones. Now, I know this might sound shocking to you. This might sound anti-Semitic to say. But, you know, these people, they've attacked their show for years. They call us all sorts of names, racist, anti-Semitic, white supremacist, whatever names they want to call us. One thing that they have never done is try to debunk exactly what we're saying. Is call what we're saying false and then try to counter what we're saying. The only thing that they can do is call us names. Okay, so if you look at the person who is at least going to replace the Board of Trustees, Scott Bach at the University of Pennsylvania, is a person named Julie Platt. Julie Platt is the chair of the Board of Trustees at the Jewish Federations of North America. She's an American banker. She's a banker. Okay, so, you know, it looks like they're trying to use October 7th as a pretext to gain power. Very similar to what Israel is doing right now, right? Israel is using October 7th as a pretext to bomb the shit out of Palestinians. They've killed over 20,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children. They've killed more Palestinians than they did in the first Nakba in 1948 when they declared Israel the Jewish state and told Jewish people that they can move there. They killed more Palestinians in the past 2 months than they did in that 2-year period of the Nakba. They're also taking land in the West Bank, which is not controlled by Hamas. So, and they've been doing that for forever. So this seems to be the case, and we're gonna show you exactly why. We're gonna talk about all of that today. Before we do, I just want to thank this video sponsor. This video has been kindly sponsored by Goldco, and as you know, the economy is a disaster. We're heading for a train wreck. Your money sitting in the bank right now is losing value every single second. You're going to lose like half the value of your money in the next 10 years or under 10 years. And so that's why I partnered with a great company called Goldco so that you can diversify your investments and savings before it's too late. You can invest in a silver IRA. You can invest in a gold IRA. Qualified callers are going to get up to $10,000 in free silver. All you have to do is go to goldco.com/veracity, fill out these 4 questions, and get your free gold kit in the mail. This is the first step. Take this first step. It helps the show tremendously. Make sure to call them. Links are in the description below. It's goldco.com/veracity. All right, so let's get to this here. So we've got this article, and just as I posited in the previous segment, it seems like this is the plan. So you have the University of Pennsylvania names Julie Platt as the new interim chair of Board of Trustees. So not the new president yet, but the new interim chair of Board of Trustees, who will replace Scott Bach, who is gone from the University of Pennsylvania. And if you look at her Wikipedia page, she is an American banker and philanthropist. Since 2022, she has served as the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Federations of North America, the second woman to serve as the chair of the organization, which oversees 146 Jewish federations across the United States that distribute over $3 billion each year. Now, what's really interesting is you have this guy, Bill Ackman, who's one of the main people behind this coup, and he is apparently disavowing the doxing trucks that are driving around with big pictures of students' faces who disagree with Israeli policy. He's saying this is not the way, don't dox college students. Now, that's interesting because if you look at Julie Platt, who is now the chair of the Board of Trustees of the University of Pennsylvania. She is also the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Jewish Federations of North America, which is a group that is one of the main funders behind Canary Mission. Now, if you don't know what Canary Mission is, go to their website. They just did this whole big dossier on Lucas Gage. Their whole mission is to dox college students. That's their entire website, is doxing college students if they disagree with Israel or if they're, quote, anti-Semitic in any way. And if you look into the funders behind this, they're very secretive about who funds this website. But if you look into some of the ones that have been revealed, It's a lot of their affiliates, Jewish Community Federation of San Francisco. So which is a part of the Jewish Federation of North America. And you could just dig deeper and deeper and deeper into this and into the funding, and you're going to find, all sorts of things, all sorts of shadowy groups and shadowy people behind the funding of this website and others like it. Now, apparently, this came out a little while ago here. Penn names J. Larry Jameson the new interim, so temporary president, after Liz McGill's resignation. I'll just give it a little bit. Just give it a little bit, and I'm willing to bet money that this guy's going to be replaced with someone else. Now, let's move on here. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at the second tweet in the thread, and this is from the great Autumn Groiper. The only Ivy Leagues with non-Jewish presidents are Columbia, Harvard, and Penn, and this seems to be the top three universities that these people are going after. You have people like Bill Ackman. You've got, what is his name? Henry or Ronald Lauder. So we'll get to that in a moment here. The top three universities that are going after to replace the presidents, to replace the leaders, are Harvard, Penn, and Columbia. The only three Ivy League universities that don't have Jewish leaders. So you have Brown, for Brown University is Christian Paxton, Columbia University, this person here, Claudine Gay. Looks like they're not going to get rid of Claudine Gay, even though she plagiarized she plagiarized a bunch of things. We'll get to that too. But let's go to this here. So Jewish groups and donors like Ackman and Lauder are going after the Ivy League universities that don't have Jewish leaders. Why? It's a power grab. You've been using October 7th as a pretext, just like the Israelis are doing. So look at this. This is from CNN Business. Billionaire Ronald Lauder threatens to pull funding if UPenn doesn't do more to fight anti-Semitism. So he was one of the biggest donors. You also had Bill Ackman as well, who's like the guy who's leading this charge, along with a bunch of other Jewish groups. Ronald S. Lauder, he is the president of the World Jewish Congress. The World Jewish Congress has him as the president, and the chair of the World Jewish Congress is David Day Rothschild. So it's like a literal Rothschild coup that's happening. A second one or a third one. This has happened many times before, in terms of American institutions and especially academia. We have a Rothschild coup that is happening right now. Now, there's a Twitter user that talked about that, basically made the comparison that we've made on the show before, where it's like, well, where were these people when it came to all the anti-white hatred that was happening on college campuses? And, we've talked about this before. I don't think we have to go over that again. It's basically beating a dead horse at this point. But I do want to point this out. She posted this screenshot of the CNN article. It's a CNN article from 2016. University stands by problem of whiteness course. So these are the types of things that we're talking about when we bring up this, when we make this comparison. But if you look at this, December of 2016, it says the University of Wisconsin-Madison is offering this course. Okay, so University of Wisconsin-Madison, and we say here, replace white with Jewish, and it would have been not only canceled, but the president of the university would have been fired and replaced with a Jewish one. So imagine if they had a course that said the problem with Jewishness, right? This would not fly. And if they did have a course like this, then the course would be canceled, and the president of the university would be replaced with a Jewish one. So this is what we say here. Now the problem is, never mind. Wait a minute. The president of that University of Wisconsin-Madison, is already Jewish. So you look up this person here, Jennifer Mnuchin, and you look at her there, and you find an article where she says, "I'm Jewish," and how her parents were Jewish, and then you see her in this photo here. It's like lighting this like massive menorah, and this guy. It's like, what is this? What is this sweater? Oh, speaking of lighting a menorah, let me see if I can find it here. Speaking of lighting a menorah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was this this Polish right-wing MP who put out a menorah in the Parliament building with a fire extinguisher. Imagine doing that. Imagine putting out a menorah in a Parliament building with a fire extinguisher. Take a look at this right now.
Panie pośle, co pan robi? Panie pośle, co pan robi? Panie pośle, co pan robi?
Jak tak można było się zachować?
Ladies like yelling at him.
Panu nie wstyd, co pan robi?
It's so weird that there's so much smoke like that.
Dlaczego pan to zrobił?
Oh yeah, why aren't the smoke detectors going off? I didn't hear any. Or I heard like a beep, but I don't know if it was it. And then you have this guy like he says he goes to Parliament. He says there can be no place for acts of racist, tribal, wild Talmudic worship on the premises of the Republic of Poland. That is it's so crazy. It's so funny. There's like this campaign video too. I wonder if we can. Should we show that? Yeah, there's a campaign video. Yeah, here it is. This was an election campaign ad for this guy who extinguished a menorah. Imagine putting out a menorah at the Capitol building with a fire extinguisher and then going in front of Congress to talk about Talmudic worship. Let's play this campaign ad here. Take a look.
Szczęść Boże. Nazywam się Braun, Grzegorz Braun. Moja prezydentura to dla państwa gwarancja prawdziwie dobrej zmiany. Obronię Gdańsk przed dyktatem eurokomuny i inwazją imigrantów. Nie będą Niemcy i Żydzi uczyć nas historii, nie będą zboczeńcy wychowywać naszych dzieci. Rozmontuję i rozliczę układ gdański. Miasto po pierwsze dla mieszkańców, nie tylko dla obcych spekulantów i deweloperów.
Yeah, where were these people on all the anti-white hatred on college campuses? But here's Mark Levin. Mark Levin saying that Jew hatred on college campuses remind him of Nazi Germany. Take a look at this.
House Republicans in the Education Committee held a very important hearing. I noticed they haven't done it in the Senate yet under Schumer. And that is to get to the bottom of what the hell's going on these campuses and universities with this virulent anti-Semitism and Jew hatred that reminds one of almost Kristallnacht, where people are marching around talking about exterminating Jews. People are hiding in their dorms rooms and in their libraries. People are afraid, Jews, from going to class to their dorm rooms and so forth and so on.
Yeah, right. Anyway, he talks about genocide. It's because they're chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That's what he's talking about. I just want to make that very clear. And, you know, if you look, Mark Levin tweeted something out, and I quote tweeted it, and I don't know, I might be able to find it, but you guys might know what I'm talking about if you follow me on Twitter. He tweeted something out where he said that Barack Obama is anti-Semitic, and he said, like, why aren't they doing something about the Obama's anti-Semitism? Why do they not say anything about Obama's anti-Semitism? This is like recently he tweeted this out. It's like, Obama's not even president, bro. And, or is he? Or some might say, or is he? Here's the thing. Obama was like one of the most pro-Jewish presidents ever. Let's just make that very clear. If you look at what he did, look at what his actions were, okay? He gave $38 billion to Israel in his last day in office, his last week in office. He increased the annual payments to Israel by $700,000 a year in his last week in office. He didn't have to do that. He also set up that like covert operation, that like secret operation to get Syrian rebels to try to take out Assad, which Israel has been wanting us to do for a long time. They've been wanting us to destabilize that regime. They've been wanting us to conduct a regime change in Syria for a long time because they view Syria as a threat. And it's just like all of the other countries that we have conducted regime changes in the Middle East in, because they are a threat to Israel, paid for, of course, by AIPAC and the Israel lobby. That's like the only reason why we did those things. And there's a whole list of other things that Barack Obama has done. And it's just so stupid. It's so stupid when I hear people say that Barack Obama was anti-Semitic. All he did was condemn the settlements in the West Bank. Like, that's basically all he did. And they call him anti-Semitic. Anyway, let's go on to this Harvard this article about Harvard. Stefanik shreds Harvard over complete moral failure after allowing Claudine Gay to remain president. Now, Elise Stefanik was nowhere to be found when it came to the anti-white hatred that was that's been happening on the college campuses for years. But her entire timeline, as we talked about in the previous segment, is all about anti-Semitism. Secondly, it's kind of funny that, like, the one that's black and has, like, no hair is the one that they're holding out on. Even though she apparently plagiarized a lot of her writings. So we have, there's a bunch of posts going around about this that Bill Ackman is retweeting, showing how she plagiarized a bunch of shit. And, like, took shit, just total, without even quotes, just took it and copied and pasted it. And they're not even getting rid of her even after that. Now, again, we're going to have to see how this plays out. The people who are conducting this coup are very powerful, and they have an endless amount of money. They have unlimited amounts of money. And, you saw what they did to Ye, for instance. So we'll see how this plays out. But I also saw this tweet here. He had no official Harvard affiliation. Speaking of Harvard, no official Harvard affiliation, yet Jeffrey Epstein had his own office, key card, and Harvard phone line. He visited Harvard more than 40 times after he was convicted of sex charges involving a minor in 2008. Why was Harvard in bed with Jeffrey Epstein? So Jeffrey Epstein, for those who don't know, I'm sure a lot of you know already, Jeffrey Epstein was a... Hold on, wait for it. Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. And, of course, they changed the Google search results. Of course, they changed the search results on this. I know, don't use Google. Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad agent. Basically, he was sent to America to blackmail powerful people here into doing what's best for Israel. There's something else I was going to say about that, but now it's slipped my mind. Okay, we're going to get onto this Christian nationalist stuff here. There was this movie that was produced. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But before we do, I'm going to thank another one of this show's sponsors, and that is Purge Suddenly. PurgeSuddenly.com. This is an all-natural parasite cleanse. If you haven't done a parasite cleanse before, we highly recommend you do a parasite cleanse. It's all natural. It's totally non-GMO, totally natural. It's stuff like black walnut and things like this. And it makes you feel better. I try to do one at least once or twice a year. To borrow the words from Dr. Lee Merritt, cancer, acne, rosacea, MS, and rheumatoid arthritis, 4 different diseases in 4 different areas of medicine. What if they can all be treated with parasite medication? And that turns out to be true for those 4 diseases. So prevent serious illnesses, prevent serious diseases, and feel great doing it. All natural, non-GMO. Make sure to check out PurgeSuddenly.com. The links are in the description below. All right, so there's this big attack on Christian nationalists and really just like Christianity in general. There was this movie that was produced, and I know that I talked a little bit about this on a stream before, but you had this. There's this movie that's going to be in theaters, and it's called God and Country Movie. And I don't want to play the trailer here, but you have Rob Reiner, who's like an atheist, agnostic Jewish man, Jewish film producer who's producing this film. It's based on a book by this person, Catherine Stewart. So if you look up Catherine Stewart, she is Jewish as well. She wrote this book that this movie's based on. Do we have another? Yeah, it's this. Yep, this one. Yeah, what's up with all these Jewish people attacking Christians all the time? Why do they hate Christ? It's this one here. Separation of church and state. And if you go back to 1962 and 1963, there were 2 major Supreme Court decisions, which were all which were also headed up by Jewish Americans, that led to the removal of God from public schools, using separation of church and state as a pretext. Shemp was one of them. I can't remember the name of the other one, but this has been happening in this country for. You go back to Vatican II in the 1960s as well, which was led by Jewish people. In the Catholic Church to basically get the Catholic Church to stop saying that Jews killed Christ and to stop being so anti-Semitic. That's what Vatican II was. And now you have this Catherine Stewart chick quote-tweeting Right Wing Watch, who posted this clip of Nick calling him a Christian fascist. And she said, remember Trump's dinner with this guy and Kanye West at Mar-a-Lago? It's like these people don't think that we notice these things. These people don't think that we notice what's going on and exactly what they do here. And I just want to make it clear. This is not like your average like Aiden Ross, okay? This is not like the millions or whatever of people like Aiden Ross. We're talking about this elite group of people. It's a large group. It's a large group. This elite group of people that have taken over these every American institution, Hollywood, media, governments. It's. I just want to make it clear we're not painting entirely with a broad brush here. So. And again, they can call me what they want to call me, but one thing that they've never tried to do is actually counter the information that we give you here on this show. So that's what we have. Make sure to check out the links in the description below. I want to say, just been brought to my attention that the prices on preparewithvincent.com on the 25-year shelf life dry food supply actually match the prices direct, and the water was actually more. So this has been fixed, and now you get a substantial discount. I mean, there was always been a discount, but I think recently there was something that happened where there wasn't. Well, now this has been fixed, so make sure to check out preparewithvincent.com and waterwithvincent.com for 25-year shelf life dry food supply and water filter needs. We also have flowcode.com/page/Vincent James. The show needs your support. We've been under attack for years. We've been banned from countless things. They've went after our advertisers. They're trying to shut us down, and there's a reason for this. And so the show needs your support. Subscribe star, $2 a month, $5 a month. You get access to all the content. We've got cryptocurrency. We've got our P.O. box down here. Make sure to check it out. Links are in the description below. Since we've been banned from every mainstream platform that exists, we need your support for the show to survive. You can support by subscribing to my Subscribe Star for $5 a month to get access to exclusive content and more at other tiers. You can also support by using cryptocurrency, our P.O. box, and as always, going to preparewithvincent.com or waterwithvincent.com to get your 25-year shelf life dry food supply or water filter systems. Check out dailyveracity.com/support to find all the links. It helps the show tremendously.